contributor. Not so much. Not I guess not that he wasn't. I don't know.
Well, I mean, even just stylistically, like as a guitar player, like what do you
Oh,
feel
I'm
like?
terrible at answering those kind of
Yeah,
questions.
because I kind of have my own opinions about it, just from seeing big business and seeing that happen. Is that like it seemed like, and I don't know if this is from being like starting out and like writing different kinds of riffs when you're younger or whatever, but I noticed that in big business, it seems like the melody and the movement of the songs is contained within the vocals.
Yeah.
And I didn't find that to be the case with Carp at all. I mean,
Right.
there was melody and movement in the vocals for sure, but there was a lot of it built into the structure of the
Of the
songs, and
song.
they have like a lower, like just a kind of a more of a solid and slow swagger underneath it. And I always was curious if that was Chris.
I don't know. It's been a long time since I've even listened to Carp, actually. So, other than on the jukebox at Brotherhood, I don't know. To me, I could always tell which songs like started out with one of Chris's riffs or one of Jared's riffs. So that's why it always seemed pretty equal. As far as especially the earlier stuff, it was a lot more equal. And then as it became, I don't know, as they went on, seemed to be like Jared tried harder or tried more, or brought more to the table than Chris did.
What was the difference between their riffs? Like,
That's hard to explain. For me, just from being a musician and listening to music, to me, you can always, or I can. Seems like I can tell, but I might be wrong. Like, who came up with what first by is the guitar following the bass more, or is there an obvious guitar line that the bass is brought into? You know. So I don't what he brought to what he brought to the table was just as much as anybody else. It just seemed to become less and less as their career went on, or their career, whatever, their
history.
their history. Yeah. I hate referring to
rock and roll extravaganza.
Yeah.
Term you're looking for.
I always just hate referring to music as a career.
Yeah. Are you missing your
He's-
daughter's recital?
No, it doesn't start for another half hour.
Oh.
And that guy's coming out. It should be here like in the next 10 or 15 minutes to move the tape machine, which I'm probably going to see if you guys want to help.
Yeah. No, it's no
Yeah.
problem.
It really weighs 600
Yeah,
pounds.
it's like 500 pounds.
Wow.
It's a pretty big machine.
All right. Yeah, I'll help
Nice.
with that. What would you say personally for you? What actually? Maybe you can answer this both ways. Personally, and then just more broadly, like culturally or whatever. What was Carp's legacy? How would you sum up their impact on music in general, locally, maybe nationally, and on you as a musician and someone who listens to music?
Excuse me. I don't think that they ever really had a chance to personally, or not personally. I mean,
We should start with Carp. Sorry.
all right, sorry. I mean, Carp's impact on me personally was just. I mean, they're friends of mine. I mean, I loved watching them do something and watch them grow from being just really crappy heavy band that didn't really seem to know what they were doing to writing one of the best records that I've ever listened to. Self-titled or whatever. But nationally, I mean, I know that there's people all over the place that love them. But they didn't really tour enough to impact a ton of people personally in concert or at a show or whatever. Locally they had a huge impact because everyone in this town that was around at that time loves Carp. Loved him from the beginning even. But I don't know.
Yeah, describe those Fire Bell shows.
the early ones.
Yeah.
The like one of the I think the first show that Carp played, and I think the first show that they like the real show that they played was at the Surf Club in Olympia, and they only had like 6 songs or something, and they're like 2 minutes each, so they only played like for 20 minutes tops, without tuning. Jared like put on like a cop outfit and like around the stage. I don't even think he played bass on that song. This song called Dead Pig. It was like stomped around the stage. Dead pig, look at me. Dead pig, what do you see? I'm just like, and and they had the Fireball song, which like Scotty would just like start it, and it's like just so freaking loud. I think they stole that from like Tumwater High School somewhere. But yeah, I mean the early shows were just crazy, and like, obviously there wasn't all that many people there. It was just like standing there like, like didn't know what to think. But yeah, those were fun. The parties were even funner. It was the same thing, except in a smaller room, so people just got more into it.
What do you think the deal was with that band, like as compared to like the other bands that were going on, like in just the kind of, and especially like the whole girl thing that was going on?
Carp seemed to like fit into that scene just as well as like say a Mom did or whatever. I mean, everyone was always friends, so we got into each other's music, but I think they were always considered like the young ones, like, oh, isn't that cute? So it was nice to like watch them like grow into being like something that was like actually taken seriously, instead of like, oh, Carp's going to play, let's go see what happens this time. Oh, isn't that cute? I mean, not that anyone really said that, but that was just kind of the vibe that you got. Like,
How old were they when they started playing?
probably like 16 or 17, something like that.
Should we film some of this shit before your friend gets here? This is all Scott memorabilia.
No, it's not all Scott memorabilia. It's just my
This is
little shrine for all kinds of old stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought that was all had to do with
Oh
Scott.
no.
Maybe that'd be a little unhealthy. I don't.
No, there's Melvin stuff up there. There's stuff that I brought back from tour. There's, my dad's urn is up there. My 7 inches are up there.
Cool.
So what was the period of time like when Scotty passed away?
That was kind of when Scotty passed away. It was really weird because my dad was sick with cancer at the time, so I was having a really hard time anyway. And I was lying in bed, and I remember my girlfriend came in. And I was sleeping, and she woke me up, and she was like, "Scotty passed away." And I was like, "Scotty who?" She's like, Scotty from Carp. And I was like, just like, what the fuck are you talking about? How? I mean, like, he's what, like 24 or something like that, or 25 at the time? 26 maybe? I don't know, but way too young to die. It's like, what happened? He was in a boat accident or something, and he was living in Seattle at the time, so it took me a while to figure out what was going on, but that was just like crazy. This like wake or gathering that we had, like, it was upstairs at K, like this big giant warehouse, and the place was packed. I mean, people came out from like San Francisco and from Oregon, from Seattle, all over the place. It was crazy. Like, all of our parents were there, even because Scotty touched everybody. He didn't not just like his friends or like people who listen to him play music. Like my mom loves him, like Jared's mom loves him, it's just like, it's everyone's life he touched like just crazy good. It was just so much energy and so much fun to be around. I never really saw that guy in a bad mood, He's always laughing about something or showing you how he can beat the shit out of you in Street Fighter or whatever video game. got this new video game. You should come over and let me kick your ass. So, you know, it was a good vibe, but obviously very sad. So.
What were what kind of like were his interests, or you know, like kind of stuff that he was into? I mean, aside from music.
Scotty, besides playing music, I mean, he loved playing video games and listening to music. You know, other than that, it's, you know, that's all I mean, that's all I remember him being. I mean, he loved to draw, you know, stuff like that, but didn't really ever seem like anything he pursued other than just like doodling. So.
I think Ruben told me that he was like constantly eating like Snickers bars and drinking Mountain Dew or something.
Oh yeah, he did that too. AM PM food, like, eat corn dogs in the middle of the night.
Yeah, Ruben said something there like, you know, this is like he's a couple months. He's like, I don't think he ingested anything but Mountain Dew and Snickers bars.
That's probably true. He probably. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's all he ate was Snickers and Mountain Dew. I know he drank a lot of Mountain Dew.
You should talk about his drumming a little bit, because I mean, it's definitely like a unique style of fairly special, amazing style of drumming.
Sorry, can you pause
Yeah.
that? Scotty's drumming style is amazing. I mean, I think he learned how to play from, you know, just being in school band or playing the snare, so which would make sense because he's so good at playing the snare. But I think his style, just like all the you know, Chris's and Jared's, like they kind of developed together, you know. And I know like at first everyone knew how much they loved the Melvins, so obviously everyone was like, "Oh, Melvins, God, just get over it." You know, everyone likes the Melvins. We don't need a Melvins band, and you know, Melvins band in Olympia, you know. But, you know, they definitely moved beyond that, you know. And, of course, you know, you can hear that he was influenced by Dale. But, you know, that he was just such a great, like, just huge drummer, you know, just, like, hit really hard and obviously a lot of energy. I couldn't believe how long that guy could go and just not miss a beat.
What would you say was the main, like, kind of, like, so you, like, maybe start from, like, a style that Dale had, and maybe lay out real quickly for people who aren't like, aware of what Dale's style is, maybe, like, in a sentence, and then say what Scott added to that, or took in his own right.
Oh, I'm so bad at drum stuff. I don't, I'm terrible at that.
Because, I mean, like, Dale's stuff is like, you know, he's like a really like sparse and strong and solid, like just very purposeful,
right,
and stuff. And I feel like you know, Scott kind of took that and just like
amplified it.
Yeah, just worked it into this orchestrated like assault.
I mean, it kind of always just reminded me of Scotty's drumming. Just reminded me of like if you took Dale and sped him up without getting like the fast tape speed, you know, like it still sounded like regular drums except faster. There's like, you know, like there's Melvin songs that are like that fast, you know, obviously, but I don't know. He just like seemed like he came up with like just a rhythm that like just wouldn't stop. I don't know, like he could play double kick with one foot. You know, I don't know. I'm terrible at this. I'm terrible at describing drum stuff. You know, and I've always hated like the sound of a snare drum. And you know, except I've always liked his. So, I don't know. I'm terrible at describing music. That's like just one thing that I've never been good at.
Yeah, Dave was kind of saying something about that, about how like the sounds that he had as a drummer were really great.
Yeah, and he got like he became more focused too. Like Scott would like, you know, instead of using a stack of like those crappy broken cymbals just because they went, you know, he'd actually get like a ribbon crasher that did the same thing, but you know, wasn't a pile of junky cymbals, and just get these ride cymbals that were like, you know, I'm probably exaggerating, but just huge, you know. But he was really good at just like technique too. I mean, he could be going really fast and then like ding, you know, like just on the bell of the ride, or you know. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at describing this kind of stuff. I don't know.
I think that's a pretty good description. I mean, it's like control under fire is a pretty
Yeah.
big deal.
And he just could, I mean, he could go for an hour, just nonstop. And like anyone else seems like they would just be winded, you know.
Especially surviving on a diet of Mountain Dew and Snickers
Yeah,
bars.
well, maybe it was a sugar high that he was on.
I remember one show I saw, maybe you were probably at the show, where he was like, had food poisoning or something. And it was here in Olympia. And he had food poisoning and he was like almost like sheet green. And he was like laying his face on the snare drum in between every song. Like just like
Where was that at?
I mean, I think it was at the Capitol Theater.
Ben was at that show.
Oh yeah,
I missed a lot of the Olympia shows.
he
Olympia
was
Cart
like
shows.
visibly sick.
Right.
Like clearly, like you see him from the crowd, and you're like, that guy should be not here. I
He
mean,
should
he's
be at home in
horribly
bed.
sick. Yeah, and he was like, you could not tell at all during the song. But the only thing you could tell is that in between the song, he'd be like,
After like '95 or something, I missed a lot of Carp shows in Olympia just because Unwound was on tour so much. So I mean, a lot of, you know, like I said, the ones like the Yo-Yo, you know, and just random ones here and there. But they were on tour, or we were on tour. You know, we never. I saw them more just like socially at that point. The earlier shows that I saw in Olympia a lot. And I saw them like when I went on tour with them.
what tours you gonna do with them?
Just the first two is the only ones I went on. I don't even know if we ever played shows together out of town. I think that we played a couple, but I can't think of where. Probably in California.
Were you guys playing different crowds, or were you just playing more often?
Well, Unwound toured a lot more than they did. Like Unwound was always on tour. It seemed like for like 5 years we were, you know, gone like 6 months out of the year half the time. Whereas they would do like a tour for every record that would last like a month. So they didn't really go on that many tours. I mean, they went on more than that, but
Why do you think that was?
I always felt that Carp waited for other people to do stuff for him. Like Unwound was a lot more self-motivated in the way that like we would book a tour and do stuff. So we didn't want to wait around for some like a booking agent or someone else to do it for us. So I think that that's part of the reason that they didn't tour as much as they should have or could have, is because they didn't really feel like booking it themselves.
Because it sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Booking tours
sucks really
sucks
bad.
ass. And we got Justin booked most of our first tours by himself, and then it got to a point that he was like, "All right, this is your section of the country, and this is your section of the country, because I don't want to do the whole fucking thing." So we started delegating things a little bit more, but it didn't really seem like they were motivated as much as they wanted to go on tour. It seems like they weren't as motivated to like make sure that it happened.
I got the idea that they were kind of a combination of like having too much fun horsing around here, and also like just kind of like, you know, the fact that it wasn't like a, you know, a goal oriented thing.
Right.
You know, that it was just kind of like them being with their brothers and family, and you know, like that's where the focus was.
Yeah. Well, and I know that Carp wanted a tour. You know, they talked about it all the time. It just never seemed to like happen or happen as quick as, you know, we'd go on like 2 or 3 tours and they were still like, oh, Calvin said he was going to help us out, or, you know, something or other. You know, there's always an excuse that why they weren't, you know, they had a van, they had equipment, they had a record out. You have a phone. It always just seemed like, yeah, they were having too much fun horsing around here, I guess.
Yeah, because I know on the East Coast, it's like, what I've come across with people about carp is that like they're not really sure. They like heard of it and they know that it's something. You know what I mean? It's like this, like the elephant kind of in the closet. They're
Right.
like kids that have been involved in music over there for a long time. They're like, yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's why, like earlier when you asked about their impact like nationally or this or that, and I think that the reason that they didn't impact as much nationally is because they just never made it over there. I mean, I know that they've been there, but it wasn't always part of like they would go on a West Coast tour, or they'd have a botched U.S. tour somehow. You know. So there's that card, the controller.
Shoot these while we have a minute. You want
The
to
sync
like
up with
you
your,
a
like
little
a Pro
room
Tools kind
around
of
the
system
tape.
or
You
digital
think so?
system. You can
So
make
it's
your
like,
tape.
is it like Simpy?
I think so. You can make it. You just replace like say track 24,
Yeah.
whatever, with this track, and then the chords in there,
Oh, fat.
and then you can sync it up with like whatever should be whatever programmer you're using.
You want to just swipe them out?
Sure.
Similarly,
Why don't you do like an in and out on it?
That I
Like
paid.
in, hold it out.
Yeah, that's cool.
I paid extra for that, and the guy like
the electronics
I
disabled though,
swore he
right?
said that
Yeah.
it came with it.
It's gonna be hard to make it
Is
smooth.
that the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me see.
Here, why don't you swap them in and out?
Okay.
You have to go to the other side to get out of the shadow.
How's this? Let me know if it's more or less square.
Okay, that's good.
I'm not sure if there's a manual for that.
Oh, there is.
No, if there is, it would be in there because I never even took it out of the box.
Okay.
I'm sure if you looked it up online, though, you could find it. You could find a manual.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Otari website still has all their shit.
Okay.
That. Stop back up on the way. Or
Yeah, I can just.
get rid of it here.
All right, you guys want to head out to that?
Whenever you guys are ready.
Okay, we can come back in
Yeah,
and
we
do
can
the
finish
rest of
this
this.
up.
Yeah, maybe I'll give you a call tomorrow. Find out about that mic.
Yeah, I can get that back to you.
I also have with the 24 track that I need to go back. There's a bunch of tons and tons of cabling, like.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you had any
Yeah.
snakes.
You're welcome to like take this, and I think there's another one. That's a different kind. But I also have like all these connectors you can have too. Well, there's another bag in there somewhere. Connectors. If you know how to make your own cables,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
Well, I can grab that shit when I bring that mic back.
Okay. Or I can drop it off to you or whatever.
Okay.
And I'll try to find. I think I have another one of these.
Okay.
This is both what goes. I think goes in or out of the back of the 24 track or your board or whatever you're using.
What would you do with your Trident?
I sold that to a guy in Tennessee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
You shipped it?
He paid for it. Yeah.
Wow. How much did it cost to ship that thing?
I think a couple of grand.
Yeah.
Nice thing it was I didn't have to move it at all. Like the moving guys wouldn't even let me touch it.
How much did you buy it for?
5.
Wow.
I got it. Don't worry.
I paid that machine I paid like a few years ago, and I didn't really use it very much. I paid like $5,500 for.
Wow.
But that was when tape was super. I mean, it's still easy to get, but there for a while it was like no one in like the plant in America like shut down or something. So now you have to order it from like China or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was China.
Let's skip this.
But that's also it was right.
I
when,
might
like,
as well shoot it real quick. It's right here.
people having their own like little hard disk recorders and Pro Tools and shit like that was starting to like, oh, I don't want to pay someone to record.
Yeah.
I just have my friend do it on his computer.
Yeah, I saw that there's a Trident for sale locally.
Where?
Locally and out in town.
Oh, really?
A Series 75, isn't that what you had?
Yeah. Did it have the onboard patch bay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The patch bays are kind of a pain in the ass to wire up, but it's so nice to have just everything right there.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, if I had $5,000, I'd fucking get it.
Yeah, no, that Trident board that I had was beautiful.
Yeah. I remember it being over at, no, it wasn't at Scott's. I remember coming here because I let Scott borrow my Echoplex.
Want to open it?
Oh, right.
And I remember you guys were, I heard some shit on it. And I remember that deck was over at Scott's house for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same one that Scott had. Yeah, because when I first got it,
First show, Bellingham.
I think it was right before Dirty Birds were going to record or something,
Mhm.
or something like that, and he was like, "Oh, mind if I check it out?" Yeah, sure.
Want to do other pages?
Let's see what's in there.
Yeah, but he got it like, it was tuned up and everything before I brought it up from LA.
Wow, it's just really organized. I bet Ruben did.
But he also
No.
did some fine tuning
Yeah,
for
this-
us, and he had it.
Do this one. I have this. Is this fucking hilarious
Oh,
or
yeah.
what, dude?
Yeah, it's good. My sister got that for me for Christmas.
Nice. So funny.
So can I snag that test tape?
Oh yeah. I've never used it though, so.
Kind of